Okay. Tell me when, Brand. All right, thank you.
Hi, Pam.
Hi. How are you?
Hi, Pam.
All right, thanks, Brandon. Welcome, everybody, and this is our first foray into this, and welcome to our meeting. First, I would like everybody to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. And Jennifer's there, too. Hi, Jennifer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag United States of America and to the republic for one nation, under God, indivisible,
Liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you. And as I said, welcome to the public out there, and I hope that this streams well to you. If you have questions, you can email them to Brandon. We'll get them and answer them later at a later date. I wanted to let everybody know, first of all, that we've met in executive session 3 times through this pandemic. And the first time was Wednesday, April the 1st, began at 5:30 for the purpose of receiving information regarding the district's continuity of education plan and the school calendar, receiving legal counsel in regards to the interpretation of Act 13 of 2020, discussing contractual considerations regarding technology and transportation, and discussing items related to personnel. The executive session ended at 7 p.m. Then again on Thursday, April 9th, 2020, beginning at 5:30 for the purpose of discussing personnel issues. The executive session ended at 7 o'clock p.m. And then this evening, we met for executive session at 5:30 and ending at 7 p.m. to discuss the following: to receive legal advice on personnel matters related to the COVID-19 pandemic, to discuss potential litigation matter concerning a property tax exoneration, to discuss collective bargaining with teachers, and the board also received information on several budgetary matters. At the end of this public meeting, we will be ending the meeting, adjourning, but we will have a short executive session afterward about a personnel issue and some budgetary concerns that we will not reconvene and vote on anything. It'll just be the end of the meeting at that time, just so everybody know. And before we start the meeting and go into our mission statement, roll call, etc., and move on to acting committees, I just want to put a shout out to our team. Dr. Walicki, the rest of the central administration staff, everybody concerned, my fellow board members, the input from them during this pandemic. These are really, really trying times for every one of us. None of us have ever seen this in our lifetime. Hopefully we will never see such a thing again. But the thing that really, really strikes with me for our district and for what happened here, not just the board, the central administration, our children, our students, the senior high kids doing their video and reaching out to the younger kids to help them, makes you want to cry. It is such a wonderful time when you think about things like that and how the community bands together during terrible, turbulent times. And we will all come out of this better off. We're learning a lot. And trust me, the things that we're learning are going to make our educational system better. I can't take my hat off, and I think I speak for our entire board, for Dr. Walicki and the rest of her staff. They have been unbelievable through this. They have led the county. They have been the district that everybody else looks to and looks up to. And that's because they are such a stalwart in education for your children. So I think when you see her, you want to thank her. We're here for you. If you have questions, please email us. Brandon Wagner, our IT person, will take care of the emails. Someone will get back to you with an answer to you at some point in time in the next few days. So thank you for attending, and let's get started. I'll turn the meeting over to you, Dr. Walicki, if you want to do the mission statement. I don't think our students are on this call, right?
They are not. But if we begin.
Okay, so if you do the mission statement, go right into your report then.
Would we like to do roll call first?
Or I'm sorry, roll call, Pam. Go ahead.
Because I can't see everybody, please say present when I say your name. Mike Alfieri,
Present.
Sonia Bragic,
Present.
Jennifer Bretz,
Present.
Diane Cibatoni, Vince DiAugustine,
Present.
Jeannie Smith,
Present.
Paul Ward,
Present.
Scott Learn,
Present.
Tony Bompiani,
Present.
and Diane's on here, right?
She had to drop, I think, for a minute.
No, I believe she's on,
I'm
but
sorry.
her,
I
Her
muted,
microphone is-
I muted
Oh,
myself. I'm present.
Okay, I'm glad you're here.
I'm
Thank you.
glad somebody could mute you one time, Diane.
Oh, gosh,
So we'll turn it over.
that was your gift.
We'll turn it over to Tammy, take the mission statement, and then run with it, Tam. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And if I can ask those, as you're not speaking, if you could mute your mic, it does improve the audio for us. Okay, our mission statement. The Hempfield Area School District and its commitment to excellence shall engage and educate all students for personal success through a shared responsibility with the student, family, and community in a safe, secure, and nurturing environment. So leading into the superintendent's report, certainly if ever there is a time for us to be working with our community to provide that safe, secure, and nurturing environment, it's certainly now as our students are within the safety of their home, and we're certainly working tirelessly in order to be able to support them. Dr. Bompiani, I thank you for the compliments, and I want to say that those go to the team. Dr. Connor, Dr. Gross, and Wismar, and Bob Rieger, and Lisa Maloney, Darla Bryant, Stacy, Ross. Just there's an incredible team here that has really been working hard to pull everything together in a very short period of time. For the superintendent's report, I'm actually going to have Wayne Wismar speak on our behalf to recognize all that our food service department has accomplished in supporting our community during this difficult time. Wayne?
Can you hear?
Wayne, are you able to hear? You may not realize that he's muted. Okay, so I will just speak on behalf of food service, and if Wayne does get his audio to work, you can just jump in. So we are so proud of our food service department, who has been working to provide meals to any child, anyone aged 18 or younger. They have the opportunity to come to one of our 3 sites, the Hempfield Area High School, Wendover Middle School, West Hempfield Elementary, on 3 days a week. It's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And our team puts together, provides a breakfast and a lunch each day. So on Mondays, they're receiving for 2 days. On Fridays, they receive for 3 days. Meals for our students, our community that is in need at this time. We also have some volunteers who are delivering food to the homes of a few families where transportation is an issue and they're unable to come to secure. We have local churches that have been providing additional food that we are providing kind of with
Dr. Willicke?
Thank you. With the backpack to go. So with that, Wayne, I'll turn it over to you now that you're able to share.
I apologize. Apparently I'm technology challenged. Our last days of school, and everyone's hearing me, correct? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Our last day of school was March 13th, so just trying to create some perspective. And as soon as the district realized that we were going to be out for an extended period, we applied for and received a waiver from the Pennsylvania Department of Education to provide breakfast and lunches for the students in the district. And getting everything set up and ready to go, our first day of offering lunches and breakfast for the students was March 23rd. And we offer them at 3 locations: the high school, Wendover Middle School, and West Hempfield Elementary. And every day, or when we offer, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the students pick up a breakfast and lunch. Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're providing breakfast and lunch, grab and go for 7 days a week. The program is approved through June 30th or August 31st if the state is still closed. However, we do have the ability to stop the last day of the school year, which allows us a lot of flexibility in what we'll be doing, not only through May, June, but through the summer. And just wanted to share that, Stacy, Noel, Linda LeBlanc, the cafeteria staff are doing a great job in using the current inventory that we have to minimize our food loss. And they're also logging all food loss. So if we are able to get reimbursed from FEMA, that we have an accurate counting of what we've lost. And just to give a sense of how we're staffing this to try to keep our people safe, is we have 5 cafeteria staff at the high school, 4 building aides that distribute the lunches, and Stacy that oversees it. At West Hempfield Elementary, we have 2 building aides, and at Wendover, we have 5 cafeteria staff, 2 building aides to distribute, and Linda LeBlanc to oversee it. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. On Tuesday and Thursday, we do a lot of the prep work for the other days of the week, which are 5 cafeteria staff at the high school with Stacy and 5 cafeteria staff at Wendover with Linda. We do have a truck driver that works probably 2 to 3 days a week, moving inventory throughout the district and moving lunches throughout the district as needed to West Hempfield Elementary. But just to share some of the numbers, the first week, full week, let's say the 22nd, March 22nd to March 28th, we did about 443 breakfasts and lunches each per day. March 29th through April 4th, we did 682 breakfasts and lunches per day. The Easter week, which is a little bit of an anomaly, and I think the Easter Bunny had something to do with that, 866 breakfasts and lunches per day. And this most recent, or April 12th through the 19th, 590 breakfasts and lunches per day. I think what it continues to show is that there is a need that the district is helping to support or take care of. And I think we anticipate that we're going to continue providing breakfast and lunch near these levels. And again, can't say enough for how well the cafeteria staff has performed during this period and how well both Stacy and Linda have managed the entire process. And if there's any questions, I would certainly be happy to answer them.
Any questions from board members? Well, Wayne, you and your staff, Tammy, fantastic job. I've had a lot of compliments from the public, and you stepped right up with the children that need it the most. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes my report.
And thank you. And the student reps are not on this call, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we'll move on to hearing of citizens. Pam, do you have anybody?
I do. It can wait till the end if you wanted to. Or I can read it now.
Would you step one?
I can read it now or it can wait. It's not an agenda item.
Okay, we can wait till the end and do it. That'd be fine.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Is it you only have the one?
I just have the one.
And Tammy, we may as well do it right now. Is that okay?
That's fine. Either way.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Pam, and then we don't have to revisit it.
Okay. All right, this is from Audrey Glick. She is a resident of Hempfield Township living in the Irwin area. I'll just read her statement that she emailed me today. Can everybody hear me? We all right? I have been a resident of Hempfield Township since 1976. My 3 children graduated from Hempfield High School. The following topic concerns me greatly as I am unaware of what is being presented on sex education in our township's public schools. My husband and I attended a conference recently in Cleveland, Ohio, in which this very topic was discussed. After discussion with the woman sitting next to me regarding this topic, I expressed to her that I have no idea what is being taught in my school district, as I have been out of the loop for many years as my children are adults. She is very active in her community in Ohio and advised me to find out exactly what is being taught. I understand that some sex education courses presented in public schools are given to young people with the admonition that they are not to take any of the printed material home with them or even to discuss the subject matter with their parents. In these programs, some are given with this admonition. Nothing at all is left to the imagination. Intimate parts of the body and their sexual functions are described in minute detail. Every aspect of sex is explored, and the most explicit descriptions of deviant and aberrant behavior are included. All types of contraceptives are described and their use explained in detail. One course provides students with the vulgar words for sexual functions or parts of the body and gives a full explanation of each one. All parents need to investigate their children's sex education programs or family life programs that may be used in their schools. Parents need to know precisely what their children are being taught in every area. They must insist on their right to know. Parents need to explain to their children that when anyone tells them not to tell their parents about something, this is a clear sign that something is wrong, and they should tell their parents at once. If upon investigation one finds objectionable programs in schools, parents need to go in groups to protest to the school authorities. They must be prepared for put-downs from those who are defenders of the program, such as, "You are not qualified to judge the appropriateness of the material because you are not professionals." Or to quote another statement that has actually been made, "Children need this information so desperately that it must be given in spite of parental disapproval and even without parental knowledge or consent." Hopefully, this can be discussed at your virtual meeting tonight. Residents of Hempfield Township have a right to know what is being taught to our vulnerable students. Please advise me and our community at large as to what the Hempfield School District presents to students and at what ages. Sincerely, Audrey Glick.
Thank you, Pam. That's the only one you had.
That's it.
Okay, Audrey, thank you for your email. And normally we don't respond to questions or people coming to the board that night because we get it at that night and sometimes we're not prepared for the response. But Dr. Wilkie had called me this afternoon and said since she had received this so early from you, that she would like to respond tonight and asked me if it would be okay with the rest of the board members. And I spoke for them and said, yes, if Dr. Wilkie wants to respond about it right now, I think it's a perfect time to do so. So Dr. Wilkie.
Thank you, Dr. Bompiani. I first just want to clarify that in reading her email, this is not in regards to occurrences here in the Hempfield Area School District. And reading what Mrs. Glick shared, this is in regards to something that she heard of in Cleveland, Ohio. So I am going to ask both Dr. Gross and Dr. Connor to share the educational content of the materials that we here in Hempfield area provide for children in this regard. And we'll start with Dr. Connor.
Actually, I'm going to pass the token over to Dr. Gross first, please.
Yeah, actually, it's a very good question, and we certainly appreciate why you would ask that. It's a very sensitive topic. At Hempfield, just to give you a little background, Pennsylvania state law does not require states to teach sex education. Doesn't require us to do that. But we are required by state law to teach sexually transmitted diseases, including HIV. And that's in conjunction with other communicable diseases when we're teaching health. Pennsylvania law also says if we teach it, when we're teaching these STDs and HIV, the materials have to be age appropriate and they must stress abstinence as the only reliable means of protecting against STDs. The third thing to be aware of is that we must allow parents to review the materials, resources, curriculum standards, and assessment related to that. And if upon inspection, any parent sees that there's an issue or something's against their philosophy, religion, or just plain principles, they can have their child opted out. There's two policies I'll point you to that really will ground you into where we are as a district. We have policy 105.1, which explicitly states that parents do have the right to request to review instructional materials. Related to your specific question with sexual education, we have policy 203.1. I said earlier where PA law requires us to teach HIV. And in that policy 203.1, it'll outline the district requirements and you'll read that we are required to provide preventative education relative to HIV. And there's an AR attached to it. If you go to the bottom of the policy, if you read all the way through it, it'll talk about our preventative education, but you can click on another link and it's called AR1. And that's actually a form where you simply complete, you fill it out and you check one that you want to review the materials. We'll be more than happy to do that for you. And then request in writing an exemption if you feel there's anything objectionable. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Connor to explain what goes on in elementary, and then I'll explain how we handle this whole topic of HIV and sexually transmitted disease. And I think you'll be happy to hear that we do not go into the depths and detail that some places do. Some states require sex education, and thank goodness we don't. We sort of limit it to body systems and communicable diseases. But I'll turn it over to Mr. Connor, and I'll follow up with how we follow through that into the secondary.
Thank you, Dr. Gross. The Hempfield Area School District follows the state of Pennsylvania Department of Ed health standards. Our K-12 health curriculum can currently be found on the district website under the academic tab. And there's a folder that's entitled Health. In that folder, you can see the curriculum K through 12 for all our students. Human growth and development is provided as part of the health curriculum, and at the elementary level, in the spring, the school nurse presents a program to fourth grade girls about puberty and the changes that take place as children mature. Also, male fifth grade health teachers present a program for boys. There is a letter that's sent at the beginning of the school year, each school year, to the applicable parents, fourth grade girls and the fifth grade boys, with additional information that speaks to this. Also, there's information that's in the elementary parent handbook that clearly delineates this. The curriculum is available for parents to review, and the school nurse makes themselves available to answer any questions that parent may have regarding the presentation. And as Dr. Gross indicated, ultimately parents can determine if the child participates in these viewings and this curriculum. I'll turn it over to Dr. Gross for the secondary level.
Yeah, and as your child or students get into the middle schools, we have health and phys ed, health/phys ed in both 6th and 8th grade. They typically meet one for health specifically in middle school. They meet one out of the 6-day cycles. And then in the high school, there's a 0.5 health requirement, and that's predominantly taken in 10th grade. If you look at our curriculum maps and the process that we use and the way we work through it, we talk a lot about nutrition, wellness, and body systems at the middle school. That's pretty much what it's limited to. At the secondary level, at the high school, I talked to our department chair today just to make absolutely sure that what I'm conveying is accurate. And I was pretty happy to hear that what I believed is what's going on. At the secondary level, at the high school, they teach it similar to anatomy, and it's a unit of as part of the 10th grade health class. They do talk about female, male, and fertilization to birth. Get into specifics or anything like that. But we also do teach, we've taught it that way probably for the last 20 years. And there is discussion, again, around HIV and sexually transmitted disease as part of the communicable diseases that are talked about with our older students. But it's pretty limited, and abstinence is stressed as the absolute and only way to protect yourself from that type of communicable disease. It's been taught that way for approximately 20 years. My understanding is, I think I said that earlier. And once again, I'll end with just reminding you, we have 2 policies where you absolutely have the right to review what we're doing. Take a look at it. That's 105 and 203.1 that talks about HIV and sexually transmitted diseases. You can actually fill the form out, get that request to us, and any one of us principals or central office staff would be more than happy to review that with you. But we do not go into the level in detail that you were concerned about.
Okay, Tammy, is that the end for that?
Yes, I want to thank both Dr. Connor and Dr. Gross for responding. Thank you.
Okay, and Pam, do we have any other hearing the citizens?
No, that was it.
Okay, so we'll move on to correspondence. Is there any correspondence other than you having to have the minutes approved?
No, just my minutes.
Okay. So you've had an opportunity to review the minutes from March 9th and March 16th. Can we do an approval of each one separately, or can we do them both together, Pam? Mike?
Both together.
Both together?
Yep.
Okay, so if you've had time to review them, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from March 9th and also March 16th?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, that's
second.
Mike Alfieri, seconded by Vince DiAugustine. Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
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 If there's any opposition, go ahead and signify by saying aye. Okay, motion carries unanimous. And that's it, Pam?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the rest of the agenda. And I'm going to assume, since we didn't have a pre-agenda meeting and discuss a lot of these items, that we're going to do each motion separately. Is that how you looked at this, Tammy?
Each committee, yeah, you can do like all of educational programs. If they're all good, you can do all of educational in one motion.
Correct.
Yeah, I'd like to do. Yeah, I know we can do that, but I was concerned in case somebody had a comment or question. I guess I could single it out, right?
Well, the way, yeah, and the best way to do that, Mr. Bumpiani, Doc, is to say, does anybody have? There are 5 items under finance. Does anybody have any that they want held out? And if nobody needs anything held out, you can do all 5, or they can hold out one item, you do the other 4, and then you do that one item.
Okay, that's acceptable. So we'll move on. Yeah, buildings and grounds here, but there's nothing there, and nothing's been added, so we don't need to stop at that one. There's nothing that you have, Paul, right? Paul Ward?
No, there's nothing on the agenda for buildings and grounds. No.
So we'll move on to educational programs, and that's Dr. Smith. Jeannie?
Hi. I have 2 motions for this evening, E1220 and E1320. E12 is regarding that the letter of collaborative agreement between Hempfield School District and Marikey as a requirement of the Office of Mental Health Substance Abuse Services for Behavioral Health divisions be approved for the next school year, 2021. And the second one is an agreement between Hempfield School District and Adelphi for the same school year, 2021.
Okay, that's we have
I'll
a second
that, Diane.
Who's that?
Diane. Mm-hmm.
Okay, motion by Jeannie, second by Diane. Any question or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
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 And is there any opposition to it? Those motion carry. Jeannie, anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. We'll move on to Personnel Committee. Diane?
Okay, I move that we approve P6420 through P6620, and that's about leave of absence. And then P6720 is, let's see, criminal justice agency agreement with Westmoreland County Department of Public Safety for access to clean/NCIS system, and it's effective May 1st through May 31st, 2020. And I don't know what those acronyms are.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Or to
Paul.
those motions? And any questions, any comments, any explanation of the acronym she's talking about?
Bob Rieger could best share the use of the CLEAN system. It's used by Lynn Lander, our school police officer. Bob, do you want to give any additional details?
Absolutely. The acronym CLEAN stands for Commonwealth Law Enforcement Assistance Network. And that is where Officer Landers reviews driver's license information, motor vehicle information, and state criminal history records if he needs to do so. And NCIC stands for the National Crime Information Center. This is a service that Officer Lander has been using for a number of years. We have been asked to enter into a formal signed agreement. This is the first one. It is good for 2 years. We actually get this service through Westmoreland County, the Department of Public Safety. They are actually the terminal agency per se. In Hempfield Area School District, we are considered a non-terminal agency. We are using passwords to get into the Westmoreland County's system for use. And again, this is only used by Officer Lander when he is investigating, primarily when I spoke with him today, motor vehicle incidents and state crimes.
Thank you.
Okay, so any comments or any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? And those motions carry, and we'll move on. Is that it, Diane, for personnel?
Yeah, yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, and we'll move on to athletic committee. Vince?
I move we approve A-14-20, which is approval of extended pay for winter coaches.
Second, Diane.
Okay, motion and a seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? That motion carries. And Vince, do you have anything else for this?
Not for this, just that we will schedule an athletic committee meeting once we have more discussion on the athletic director position.
Okay, and we'll discuss that.
Did I say athletic committee?
Yeah, we'll discuss that. I would like to request that you call for an athletic committee meeting sooner rather than later, Vince, because there has been a request brought up by a board member to look into having the girls golf team as a club sport. And that was brought up in your February meeting, I believe it was, along with another team, I think it's middle school girls slow pitch or fast pitch softball. So I'd like to see if you would, I think Rich Bowen is gathering information now. And I think that's what you told me, Tammy. And maybe you can have that meeting and then get back to us as far as your recommendation on these. So
yeah, I mean, I can give you, I don't know how time sensitive it is for these positions. Does anybody know? Because I know we talked about it previously, and I for one am in support of both of these programs being club teams. I'm just not sure of the time frame. So
well, I talked to Tammy. I talked to Dr. Willicke today, and she can chime in anytime she wants. And she feels that we have time to have that meeting in May and then revisit this at the end of May. I mean, there's always questions toward this too for both of these programs, and I think it needs to be discussed fully by your committee, and then make the recommendation to the board as a whole, and then move on from there. So
okay,
I think
we'll have it.
Dr. Willicke.
Okay, we'll have it on the agenda one way or the other on in May for sure.
Okay, and Dr. Willicke, am I saying anything that's incorrect there?
No, you are correct, Dr. Bompiani. Knowing that we are going to be for club sports, they propose that it be for club sports. They will not be included in the Hempfield schedule, so it will be up to the athletic director to secure matches, games with other school districts. So we know that that is something that can still be done, even if consideration is not given until May or the new board.
I do have Dr. Willicke. If in a time sensitive issue that we were talking about, but because if we do end up, if it does end up becoming like the ladies golf ends up being club sport, and like we had discussed, it's not a school sanctioned sport, so it's not going to obviously be on a WPIL schedule. However, if it's a club sport, like we had discussed, they can't compete as a team in the WPILs and the PIAs, but they can still compete individually for our school. As I just want to know and have some clarification as far as if there's a deadline for that.
I know that Rich Bowen reached out to Whitfield and was told what would be for her. I was not told anything as far as individuals. But certainly I can go back and ask that question and update the board on that.
Okay, that's the only time sensitive thing that I had mentioned. You know, I just wanted to get the ball rolling because I know it had been felt bad because it had been somewhat pushed aside in the midst of all this, what has been going on. So,
Okay.
I also
All
think
right,
just to
so then-
comment on
Go ahead,
softball
Paul.
too, there may be a sensitivity with softball because if there's a chance to get in a normal cycle with the team, obviously it's a spring sport, but there may be still time to approve and get into a normal cycle for next spring for that sport. Obviously golf is tight because fall's coming up fast. But we may still have time, so we should understand spring as well, even though it's next spring.
Yeah, I think all these student athletes are chomping at the bit and want to know what their future like. So I think it's time sensitive to them, no matter when it is. And I'm glad that Vince, you and Paul and Dr. Walicki and Rich can have that meeting and maybe then give us some direction with it. Okay. They're good. Thanks, guys. Anything else, Vince?
No, I'm all good. Thank you.
And supplementals, Sonia, I think there's nothing on there, correct?
No, but I have a question on the athletic side of it for a moment, if I could.
Go ahead.
I'm assuming that I don't want to assume that, but we have not placed fall sports out for vote yet. And I'm assuming there's a reason behind that, just because we're really not sure what the fall holds. But I just want clarification on that because there's been a direction by the board in the past to get these placed out sooner rather than later.
And Sonia, I can respond to that. I have been working with Rich Bowen. I speak with Rich at least twice a week. We are actively pursuing and getting the recommendations for all fall sports. We've advertised for a number of positions over the last 2 weeks. It's our intent to start having those recommendations available at the next board meeting.
Okay. I didn't know if it was just because I know we have some that have already been out there. I didn't know if we were just waiting due to the fact that none of us knows what the future holds for the fall, if that'll even be an option for sports.
That's part of it as well. But we are actively pursuing that. And Rich has been reaching out to all of the individual past coaches, seeing their status for next year, as well as when we know openings are coming, we are posting them as soon as we get them in.
Okay. I kind of thought it was a twofold, but just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Bob, we normally, when do we normally approve fall coaches? That's usually a May agenda?
Yeah, typically we try to bring them late April, early May to have everybody on board for the summer camp.
Right.
I doubt if they will be happening, but it's too early to report out yet.
But we're not behind in the past cycles, correct? Like normally what we do is usually May.
We would be on target. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so Sonia, we'll move on to Finance Committee.
Okay. Is everybody good with what we have on here? I thought we were going to take F4120 off for this evening. Or are we just going to table that?
You're going to table that. You'll do that one, skip that one, and then vote the motion to table it.
Okay. All right. So at this point, then I would be putting F36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. No, excuse me, 40, 42, and 43 out for motion. These are our normal bills payable deposits. We'll be putting out bid to the lowest responsible bidders, contract extension, and we have the 1-year extension for Cloudcast, and then what we discuss in executive for the lowest responsible bidder for Consolidated Communications, which Brandon went over with us. Those would be the items I'd be placing on the agenda for this evening for vote.
Do we have a second?
Second. That's Paul.
Second by Paul. Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion to these motions?
Sonia, this is Mike. I have a question for Wayne. That F4220 for Cloudcast, is that able to be revisited anytime before that year contract is up?
We would start the bid process, the RFP process, probably in the fall, and then just work through it sooner. What I really like about the extension, honestly, Mike, is it gives us a chance, from what I learned from putting it out this time, is it allows us to give it enough time to do this properly. We are not going to try to compress it into 4 to 6 weeks. We might spread this out over a couple months and have multiple visits on site. And I really want to ensure that we get good quotes from whoever might be interested.
That's good. Thank you.
Wayne, they were good to work with as far as the 1 year extension. Everything was good.
Honestly, it was very good. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions, comments, discussion on the motions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition to any of the motions? Motions carry.
Okay, then I move to table motion F4120.
Second.
We
Jeannie?
have a second by Jeannie. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposition? Any opposition? Okay, motion's tabled. Anything else on finance, Sonia?
No, that would be it. Thank you.
Thank you. And policy committee, Jeannie?
Hi, I have PO 2620, which is asking to approve several policies. Policy 222 for tobacco and vaping products, policy 323 for tobacco and vaping products. One is for pupils and one is for employees. Policy 805.2 for school security personnel, policy 904 for public attendance at school events, and policy 713 traffic and parking regulations. These policies have all been on for 30-day review, and we're going to be asked to approve them tonight. PO 2720 is putting policies on for 30-day review. Policy 06.1 is attendance at meetings via electronic communications. This has come about because of the COVID-19. Policy 335, family and medical leaves. Policy 626, federal fiscal compliance with attachments. And all those attachments go with the policies and are usually, some of them are attached and some of them are ARs at the bottom. And PO 2820 is permission to apply for an Act 80 day on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. PO 2920 is to approve 2 fundraisers, one for the Band Parents Association for a classic car show, and one for the High School Cheerleader Parent Club to sell sponsorships, calendars, and several other things that are listed there on the agenda. So I need approval for those particular motions.
Well, you've been busy.
Oh, I have.
Do we have a second for these motions?
Second, Diane.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
PO 2920, with us approving this right now under the current situation, if we are not yet opened up for large gatherings, what does that do with us approving this evening?
It would have to be postponed or canceled, just as any other event.
So should we be approving this tonight, or do we need to hold off?
I see no problem with approving it, knowing that it could be postponed. I think that it's understood with any of our events going forward. We know it'll have to be based upon the restrictions of the time.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? All those motions carry. And Jeannie, do you have a report at the end?
No, I do not have a report. These reports are the ARs that are attached to the bottom of these particular policies.
Okay.
And for those who are listening to this, we do board policies, and then we have administrative regulations, which is what that AR stands for. And that is how our administrators put our policies into effect. And we did have a very good policy meeting online, and I think Paul Ward attended, and Diane attended, and Jennifer attended, and it worked out very well. We did not schedule another one yet because we didn't have any that needed to be revised at this point, but Dr. Walicki will let us know if we have any that come in.
Okay.
That
Great.
concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Jeannie. Technology Committee, Dr. Learn.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. And Central Career West Technology Center, you have a couple things there, don't you?
Yeah, I'm happy to announce that we did hire just this past week a new executive director for the CWCTC. Comes in well recommended and highly educated, and I'm excited to see how much growth and expansion we're going to be able to do at the school. So I hope everybody is looking forward to the new director.
Great. That's good. I know he comes very highly recommended by you too. You put a lot of time in this, and I'm looking forward to see everything that happens.
Are you able to give a name, Scott?
Yeah, it's Mr. Ken Kreider. He's coming from Berks County. He has ties in the area, and he's coming back. He and his wife are coming back, and he's very excited to get things started.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's terrific. Okay, so and that's all, Scott?
That's it.
Okay, we'll go on to school board report, and I already said a few things in the beginning about the team, and I'm not going to go any further with that. But what I do want to bring up, I'm looking down at another committee that we'll be talking to in a minute. That's very, very important. And I think in this time of uncertainty, we put together a great drug awareness and prevention committee, not just with Jennifer, Vince, Mike on there, and Dr. Walicki and her staff, but also with people from the community. If you look at this committee, this is like an all-star committee, all-star team to work with our group to try and make it as safe as we possibly can for our students and our whole community. And now with the lockdown and with everything going on, with all the pressures, I think it's so important we keep this thing going. And I would hope that as we ask the athletic committee to meet, that we can get something going with the drug awareness thing, where now we can do it virtually, possibly to keep these people engaged and to keep some ideas coming on. Because I'm concerned at the end of this thing, or even during this thing, there might be some things that we not only can do, but we need to do to help our students. So that's the only part of the school board report I have, and we can move on. And when we get to the drug awareness, maybe Jennifer or Vince, Mike, you can talk to that, speak to that, or even Tammy. So move on to school safety and security. Diane, is there anything to report?
No, we have not had, our meeting was canceled. We did have a meeting in, maybe the beginning of March. It was an excellent meeting and had a lot of plans, but we haven't met since then because of the pandemic.
Okay. And workman's compensation, safety, same. Drug awareness, Jennifer?
I'm fine with having a virtual meeting whenever, we can all get together. And also the Westmoreland Intermediate Unit, we're having a virtual meeting next Tuesday, April 28th at 7 p.m.
Okay, good. Did I skip you? I did skip you. I'm so sorry. Anything else on the Intermediate Unit other than the meeting coming up?
No, we everything with the Intermediate Unit with the virus, the pandemic, everything was shut down. So our first to get together is next week.
Okay, good. And I apologize, I skipped you the first time. And Tammy, Vince, Mike, you're okay with having a virtual meeting too at some point?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I'll mention as well that our headlining Hempfield spring issue will be a digital issue. We had conversations with the township in regards to this particular issue, and it was decided to go that route rather than print. And it will include an article on the Drug Awareness Committee. I believe that will be coming out at the end of this week or beginning of next week.
Okay. Any questions for any of the ones before we get to the PSBA and the foundation? One last thing.
Tony, real quick, Tammy, we might have missed the window to add to that, but is there any way that, being that it's digital, we could put a little information in there as to look out for an upcoming meeting or something like that?
For the township and us?
Well, for the headlining Hempfield, if it's digital, are they able to add something as to announce that we're going to be scheduling a meeting to look for it?
To participate virtually.
Possibly. I'm just throwing it out there.
So similar to this meeting, that would have to occur with the live streaming that's occurring. It would
Okay.
probably best if we had the committee members meeting, because then we know who the participants will be. When it's open
Okay.
broader, it's hard to include others unless we were to do the live streaming.
And you're
Sounds
talking
good.
about the township and school district meetings.
Oh, I thought he meant the drug and alcohol committee.
Yeah, I being that there's a story in that newsletter, I didn't know if we could add something in there that there would be something scheduled, but it sounds to be a little more complicated than that.
Maybe we could include, if they were interested, then give a contact name, and then we could look at adding those particular individuals. That might be a way to do it.
Okay.
I thought with Brandon Wagner to see if there's a means to have that occur.
Thank you.
I hate to throw more on your shoulders, Dr. Willicke, but I really think that committee's very, very important. And just for everybody's information, I reached out to George Reese and Tammy and Jason from the township to try, and it would be too hard to have the joint meeting scheduled during this pandemic without, getting the public in. But I did reach out to them to see if there was interest in them in getting our committees to meet in May sometime virtually, so that we can then be ready and prepared to hit the ground running when the restrictions come off, and we can have our joint meeting between the township and us and go through these committees and get things working for our town, for our taxpayers. And I'm more or less saying that not only for the board. I haven't heard back from George and the rest of them. I emailed him last week. As soon as I hear back, I'll let the board know. We can schedule those meetings with the committees, and then we can be prepared to have the joint meeting when we all are able to get together again. So with that said, let's move on to PSBA legislative policy. Jeannie?
Don't really have much. I did speak a little bit about this in executive session. They are sending things out to all of us. I'm assuming everybody is getting what PSBA is sending out.
Yeah.
They are also sending information about how they're trying to help schools and what they're doing and what resources they have during this COVID-19 pandemic time. I'll move on to Foundation Funds Committee, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are going to probably have a meeting of the committee in May, which is when we usually have it, and do it virtually. The subcommittee for the scholarships has met. They've received the applications, and they have chosen, they will be choosing. They're going to meet this week, and they're going to be talking about which were their top candidates. And then they'll be choosing the two that we will be presenting. I don't know how that will work this year without school being in session, but we will be presenting two scholarships, one for $1,000 from the Foundation Funds Committee, and one for $2,000 for the Mario Pallone Memorial Scholarship Fund.
Good. Good. Thanks, Jeannie. Any questions for the foundation from anybody? Okay, Greensburg Hempfield Library, Jean?
Well, the library is doing everything that it can do, again, virtually. And they're working, each of them are also still working from home, as many of the teachers are doing the same type of thing. Diane can probably speak a little bit about this if she wants to. Mm-hmm. I know she's one of the people who's working from home.
Yes, and it's very, very interesting. I do feel for the teachers understanding this, but we have, we're doing a lot of collaboration. The children's director, the children's main librarian, is trying to put things on the computer so that our patrons, our young patrons, can participate. And we are working behind the scenes, looking forward to when we would be open. And everything has been, all fines have been waived, all items have been renewed, and we have asked for people not to return anything, although they still are, because we would prefer not having those things in the library. But when they do come in, our maintenance person goes in once in a while just to check the building and make sure everything is clean and everything. So, but yes, a lot of us are working from home, and some of the ones who don't actually have a laptop to work, we've given them other jobs to do, and we're all working and enjoying this sort of. Thank you.
That's all I have, Tony. Thank you.
Tony, turn your mic on.
You young whippersnappers, you know, you don't have to deal with these brain dead people like me that can't get on a computer. I forgot what I said now, Vinny. Did you read my lips? Well, anyway, thank you for a good report, girls. I appreciate that very much. And Brandon, do we have anybody that emailed during the meeting for hearing a citizen's non-agenda item?
No, Tony, this is Pam. I didn't receive any more.
Okay, that sounds good. And anything for the good of the board? Okay, and before we adjourn, just to let the public know again, we will be having, are we going to have the pre-agenda meeting as well in May, right, Tammy?
We do need to have that meeting because we will be sharing the preliminary budget, which will be voted upon during the voting meeting.
Okay, sounds good. We're carrying on business as usual with the board. We're going to have various committee meetings as well. We will be, after this adjournment, meeting an executive session on a personnel issue and budgetary issues, just to let everybody know. We will not be reconvening in the public. So after having said all that, do I hear a motion for adjournment?
A motion to adjourn from Paul.
Okay.
I'll second Sonia.
Okay. Motion to adjourn, seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries and the meeting's adjourned. And board members, we have to sign off and get on the other side again, correct?
Yep.
Tammy?
Yes, that would be easier.